Hello and welcome back to What the Dave Lawrence. It is a preview show, back with your regular host, much to the disappointment of everyone listening, I'm sure. But when I said we were going to record on a more regular basis, I kind of forgot how quickly these group games come around even. But it's time to sort of chat about England yet again. And I've got two Englishmen on the call, which is, I suppose, handy in that sense. First and foremost, Bradley Sharp. Brad, how are you doing? Are you okay?
We
Hey.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I'm not bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Unbeknown to the listeners, I've just came in from 3 days at a very muddy download, followed by a Foo Fighters 3 hour set. So, look, I've had a good couple of days. I've enjoyed myself. I'm in relatively good spirits, and now I'm ready to jet off to Germany to go to the Euros. So, yeah, I'm buzzing, Brad. Thanks for asking. Not that I wanted to brag about my fantastic 10 days that I've got
How
lined up.
how did you get back from download so quick to Scotland? Did you learn to fly?
Oh no, no. If you didn't get that, that's your own fault. Very, very good. I would say that's the best of you, Brad, to be honest. Dave,
Is Dave my hero?
he's ordinary. How are you doing, Dave? You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Enjoying it. Enjoying it. Wonder how long it takes people to realise. I'm sure they will. Yeah, all good, mate. Finally got to see my first game of the Euros last night by watching England. Yeah, brilliant. Glad that you're back though, mate. Glad that you're back.
Win's a win is a win. I listened there, which was a very weird experience of listening back to my own podcast because I was listening back to what obviously you chatted about yesterday, and I picked up a bit of despondency, which I kind of have to say I did pre-warn you all that England don't really always start tournaments that well, and that a win was probably the most important thing. But Brad, on to the second game. Obviously, we want to be stronger than what we were, I think, especially for maybe the last sort of 60 minutes of that game against Serbia. But before we delve into the preview of Denmark, which I think is on paper maybe our toughest game in the group, um, you went on that reaction show, neither was I. What were your thoughts on that Serbia game? Is the win the important thing and the rest doesn't really matter?
I mean, we did say last week, I think, getting off to a winning start that I said, like, if it's 2-0, not that comfortable or not that great to watch, fine. But I mean, the first 35 minutes, I think we started it how I wanted us to start. We looked really good. Bellingham and Saka just were running the show. And second half, if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford, well, I mean, their goalkeeper pulled off a great save, to be fair to him, but if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford, we could be talking about a 1-1 draw. It was drab, the second half, really. It was, without being critical of them too much early, because we just won, it seemed like Southgate hasn't learned from going up quite early, and it just seemed like we just, I don't know, just defended, and it was just a bit boring. But hey, the other game was a draw. We got to win. We're top of the group, and if we go and win on Thursday, yeah, we're through, aren't we, comfortably, without actually being at our best. When you say Denmark looked like the most difficult fixture, though, I watched their game the other day. I think nothing of them, if I'm honest with you. Um, Again, they were very similar to us, Graham. If I'm honest, they started quite well. They got a goal pretty early, and then I don't know what happened to them. Really, they just seemed to not implode because they didn't lose, but they just didn't have the same intensity about them second half. And if anything, I think they could look at it come away from that game with a point. So I'm quite confident that we can get the job done on Thursday night too.
Yeah, me too, to be honest. I've always felt that this group, to be honest, is more than winnable, and there's never such a thing as an easy group to top at any tournament, no matter who you get. But it was favourable based on sort of what we've got. But Dave, next up is Denmark, and I think we've touched on it before. Look, a win's a win's a win. The last Euros we drew with Scotland 0-0 or lost 0-0, as some will tell you, which I'm sure will bring a smile to some faces. The last World Cup, which I thought, to be honest, I thought we were really unlucky against France, and I thought we got stronger in the knockouts. we were actually quite boring, quite poor against America, where we drew 0-0. So our last two major tournaments, we drew 0-0 in the second game. I don't think anyone wants to draw 0-0, but I think based on the result before and what Denmark have shown, this one's a winnable game. But the worst case scenario being a draw isn't the worst situation whatsoever, Dave. Or am I being too Southgate?
It's very easy to get drawn into, isn't it? No, just avoiding defeat. I think we mentioned when we recorded the reaction that draw. It just puts us in a really strong position, doesn't it? So, yeah, I think England will win 2-0 anyway. That's probably going to be one of your questions in a bit. What do you think the score will be? So I've probably just ruined that one. But yeah, I think we'll get it done professionally. And again, I said it last night. Love agreeing with you. We agree on quite a lot, to be fair. I just think Bellingham's the difference, and I just think he is absolutely immense. I think he controls games, and I also think he's got that extra gear when things aren't quite going as well as they could be. And yeah, I think he'll pull us through in one way or another, whether it's defensively or offensively, to be honest. So I think it'll be done and dusted by Thursday, and then on to, I'd imagine, a big rotation and see where we go from there. Fingers crossed, a bit more of a complete 90 minutes, and we don't hear a poor excuse if we expended a lot of energy in the first half, because I think he was talking a whole lot of shite. But he's got a lovely smile, that bloke.
I like Southgate. I think almost in a way, like he's pragmatic at best, and I understand that sometimes there's been times when I've been frustrated with maybe those performances similar to the one in maybe the second half against Serbia, and then lo and behold, it gets to like a later stage of the knockouts, and I'm like, oh God, he's got it tactically right. It's like the Paddy Power advert, isn't it? I think we have reversible hats on Southgate as a fan base in general, but probably one of the big conversations that has come from the Serbia game, Brad, is we went with the two midfielders. We went with Trent and we went with Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice is just phenomenal. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful player. I think if you take Rodri out of the equation, he's the best defensive midfielder in the world, in my personal opinion. Rodri obviously is the best, to be honest, though. I think Trent didn't have the greatest of game. There was a conversation around, was Bellingham doing too much because of, and was that stifling Foden? There was a conversation around that as well. There may be changes for the game against Denmark. Do you think, personally, from your perspective, they're required? If so, where would you make them? And if not, why would you keep it the same?
I don't think they're required. The thing with Trent is, I mean, I bigged him up, didn't I, in the previews? But I did say last night, against the better teams, which Denmark are probably going to be a bit better than Serbia. They've got some quality there. I think Conor Gallagher would be very well suited.
I thought he
I was
did well
saying
when he came on against Serbia,
he
Gallagher.
was
I thought
excellent. He was excellent. He was winning fouls. Like,
it's just that
he's
energy.
just legs, isn't he? And
Yeah.
what he'll give you is he will give Declan Rice the ability to play his game just by doing the donkey work that really goes unnoticed in most games. But I mean, the only other one would be maybe Phil Foden coming out. But do you bring him out after one game, and what's that do to his confidence? Because look, he wasn't great last night. He wasn't even good. He looked a bit like I don't know. You could say he was a bit of a pretender. He wasn't.
Shut up, man.
Sorry.
This podcast is going on ever long already.
But no, I just think, look, we came away with one, and the lads who came on, Bowen, which I was surprised actually to see him come on,
I thought, again, another substitute, I thought played really well.
done well.
So are we saying Southgate got it right with his substitute? Because I think he really did.
I'll give him credit for them, yeah,
Yeah.
on this one. But usually, I mean, I don't want to praise him too much. Like Southgate's that safe. He probably wears safety goggles when frying eggs. You know what I mean? It's just we'll wait and see.
What's safety goggles and for eggs? Is that a
Well, in
thing?
case he spit at you. He's that defensive minded, isn't he?
It's 11:30 at night, if anyone's wondering. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to pack and record a podcast at the same time. I'm
And
sorry if that seems.
I've
Go
just had
ahead.
3 kids running riot since they came in from school, and
Aye.
so yeah.
So,
But
so
no, I
stop
mean,
subscribing is what we've said for a long, long time, and now we're just giving you real factual evidence as to why you shouldn't.
but back to your question, like it's not imperative that he makes changes. He might make 1 or 2, and that'll be fine. But I think the only one that he might make could be Gallagher coming in for Trent. But if he keeps Trent in, look, I know Trent gave that one chance away in the first half where Mitrovic really should have hit the target. Still a bit of a difficult effort, but he should have hit the target from there. Man of his caliber, you would say. But apart from that, he done all right. He was the one that won the interception for Kyle Walker to bomb down the right hand side. He mopped up quite well. But obviously, people are going to go back to the big one where he has give the ball away in the edge of his own box. But apart from that, it was solid enough performance. So I wouldn't be against seeing him come back in and playing there again. But again, Gallagher would excite me because that will allow Declan Rice to play his game a little bit more. Because he is a powerhouse. I agree with you. He's a powerhouse. If he gets the ball at his feet, not just in the holding the field goal, but he just glides forward with the ball as well.
I
And
think
that'll
he's,
allow Bellingham to also be that extra 10 yards up.
I think he's
But
one of the first names on the team sheet for me every single time, and I feel
all of
like
them.
looking at tournaments, I understand the Bellingham thing. I more than anyone, I understand the Bellingham thing. I absolutely love him. Kane's obviously hugely important. But I think you gradually see more and more people discuss Declan Rice as someone who has to be in that team if England have any chance of getting anywhere in the tournament.
My opinion, and I think I've even said it on the podcast, I can't remember really, but I think Declan Rice was the signing of the season in the Premier League.
Oh, he's
He
brilliant.
got he got Arsenal so close to that title. Look, yeah, there was another 12, 13, 14 class players that Arsenal have got, but he just took them to another level. Um, he's exceptional. He is absolutely exceptional, and I do think without him being one of the flair players up like further forward that we talk about the attacking lot, he's going to be pivotal if we're going to go deep into this tournament. He's going to be so vital in keeping him fit. And like Dave says, if we go ahead and get the job done against Denmark, he'd probably be the change I'd make to keep him right for the knockout stages by giving him a rest in the last game. But we'll get to that one.
Dave, talking of the team, like I say, I think I personally would keep as is, if I'm completely honest. I mean, I'm looking at the Danish midfield there. It's people that we're aware of. Højbjerg, Eriksen plays a little bit further forward. You could bring Conor Gallagher in and not really probably affect anything too badly, but I don't necessarily think there's anyone in there that you need constant energy against. You've got some physicality, sorry, there in Højbjerg. You've got technical ability there in Eriksen. Um, in terms of the midfield, for me, I think you can persist with Trent to see if that works. You could maybe even drop Foden into a 10, bring someone in left if you want to change things up. I think at the moment you don't need to change too much, but there is discussion. There is sort of there is thoughts that maybe we could change certain things. I mean, if you look at England's bench, I know that you had Luke Shaw was on the bench. I don't think he's fit. If I'm honest with you, at the moment, the indications are that he won't be fit until the third game. Trippier did take a knock. I don't think at this point, if he's fit, you would change it, but there's still a lot of good stuff on the bench there. Cole Palmer, Eze, Anthony Gordon. There's a lot there you could change if you wanted to. Would you change anything? Maybe even bringing in Kobbie Mainoo in place of Trent, or are you happy with things or well the way they started in the game against Serbia?
I think knowing Southgate and how he's been previously in times like these, I think
That's
I think
horrendous, by the way. I'm impressed, but that's bad. But it's good though. I'd forgot about that one. That was the easier one, and we missed it completely. Shocking, really.
I had to get it in there. I thought
But
Brad would
you
appreciate
could
it.
say Southgate is like a teacher or the teacher if you want.
Very true. I mean, you can't teach them to learn to fly, can you? But
No.
There's no way back from this.
To be honest, I'm just up for a load of puns. Forget it. I think that would be my change, Trent, and I think it'd be Manu for me instead of Gallagher. I was impressed with Gallagher when he came on, but I do like him in that last kind of like 20 minutes and breaking things up. I think Denmark will be a lot technically better than what Serbia were. It won't be as physical, but it'll be a bit more of a chess match. To be honest, knowing Southgate like I do, I think he'll come out the other side of it because, like you have said, he is pragmatic and he looks like some kind of Russian chess master, to be honest. He plays football like a Russian chess master, if I'm honest. Boring as hell. Just in case anyone hasn't realised, that's the Foo's newest release, Russian chess master. Great listen. So yeah, I don't think there'll be too many changes. I think it'll all be about the third game. Pretty low key to start off with, I think, and then let's see where in a week and a half's time, see where we're at, and hopefully things get a bit more exciting.
I think when you look at what you're saying, in many ways, Dave, I think you feel like Southgate could be that monkey wrench towards England. But Brad, I'm running out of puns rapidly, so I will throw this one to you. We sort of talked about team before a little bit in terms of does Foden stay in, which sounds like a crazy thing to ask, but like I have seen conversations around how good Bellingham was and how that almost stifled Foden a little bit, which I actually kind of understand that. Me personally, Bellingham's the best player. He's the most important person. But is there and I know this is really early to be saying it, and I don't know whether you can make 100% judgment on it so far, but we've seen Lampard, Gerrard's goals in the past. Is Foden Bellingham like a similar thing because they're so different in many ways, but they play the same position?
Maybe it's not at that stage yet. I think some people are making something from nothing at the minute. For me, I just think they're both that good. But Foden can play in a number of positions. He just hasn't done it for England yet, which is frustrating. But like I said, is that his one bad game? Let him settle in the tournament now. He'll know he's had a poor game. Can we shift him about maybe? Give him more of a free role? Because I think one thing as well that didn't help was he had no one really bombing down the outside of him like a natural left footer. Trippier always tried to come inside and at times was going backwards. And that's nothing against Trippier. I thought he was excellent defensively. I just didn't think he offered a lot really going forward. And just even if it's just pulling their right back out of place, so Foden can just step in that little bit of space and take the game to them. But I don't think we're quite at that issue with Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes because I think they all hit their prime late 20s, early 30s. And that's where we were seeing the best of them and we were trying to shoehorn them in. I think they're young enough to try and, I don't know, adapt the game slightly to the benefit of the team rather than themselves. And I don't think they're as egotistical as them three were. I don't think there's this divide. And I'm going off on a quick tangent, but you listen to the pundits when they were talking a few years ago, and they were always saying like you'd have the United table, the Chelsea table, Arsenal table, Liverpool table, and they didn't want to give too much away to each other. I think it's a lot different mentality, and that's where I will give Southgate a lot of credit. I think he's instilled a great team bond and mentality in the dressing room, whereas they just all look like club teammates, like best pals. And that comes from the coaching, which is it is a good thing. And I think they see the bigger picture as not them being the star man. They want to give their all for the country and for their teammates as well. So I don't think we're quite at that stage yet, but we'll have to see how the tournament progresses. And if we don't really get a pick up in form from Foden, I think it is going to be him that's going to miss out and to try something different. I don't think he's going to say, right, Bellingham will have to drop out, chuck Foden into 10 and we'll bring Gordon in. I think it'll be Foden misses out and it'll be a straight swap with maybe Gordon, possibly. But it'll be much of a muchness on Thursday. And then how that goes, it's sort of just, that's the thing about tournament football, isn't it? It's you navigate your way out the group and then you're in the knockouts. And if someone's not at the best when they get to the knockout stages, that's when you sort of think it's time for you to come out the team and try something different. But no panic yet.
No, not at all. And I think what could be, and look, we're thinking ahead a little bit here, but if we can get the win that's required, that will, I think, guarantees us getting through, especially after the draw that the Danes had with Slovenia. I do think that you look back to the last Euros, and I don't think anyone at the time really saw Saka as someone that you would play on a regular basis in the first 11. I think some people, I'm pretty certain myself, said on the podcast at the time, I was surprised that he took Saka because he was very young at the time. He just kind of came on the scene. And then he ended up being one of our better players. And for me, he was the best player for us at Qatar as well. I thought he was outstanding. I thought you've seen what he can produce. In the first half, especially. Yeah, he was quiet against Serbia, but for me, Saka's now hugely important, and he only really came into the team sort of end of the group stage, I think, if I remember correctly, at the last Euros. So if we can get this win, you've got the likes of Eze, Gordon, players that can come in and offer you a really high level of quality because we've talked about the level of quality that we have. And then you can get a little bit of confidence if those players come in and think, I've made an impact at a major tournament. And then you've got people clamoring to get off the bench. So, Dave, I'll kind of throw the same question at you. Do for this game, we stick with what we have, get the 3 points in the bag if we can, get qualification sorted, then give a few more players a chance in the final group game to boost their confidence a little bit, give them an opportunity to show what they can do on the big stage. And then you're going into the knockouts with hopefully 3 wins out of 3 and players that are confident and all playing for each other, but all battling for positions at the same time and all very hungry.
Yeah. I don't. I think the one thing that I will say for Southgate is, for as much as we all know that I don't appreciate that he isn't attacking and flair-minded and stuff with the amount of attacking talent that we've got at our disposal. I think he's got a squad of 26 players there who will all perform for him. They will all go above and beyond, and they'll wear the shirt with pride. And there's a whole massive culture of togetherness. And I think no matter who he puts in, I think they'll all be absolutely. It won't be for a lack of effort and a lack of trying that undoes them. I can see getting to that third game if we've had the 2 wins. I can see us making 8, 9 changes, and I still think we'll go out and put on a performance. Probably get the job done. I can see 3 wins from 3 in this group, and even with a rotated side in the third game, I think you'll see a few little cameos from players who will give them something to think about. I guess the thing that would annoy me and people who think like me about Southgate is, even if those cameos are absolutely exceptional, we all know he'll pick his favourites. He might not have. He might have left the odd one out of the squad, and I understand that, but there was plenty of reasons why he's left them out of the squad without looking, and he's been justified. I mean, I thought Mark Gay was excellent the other day. So I'm intrigued. I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of really struggling to get excited about the group stages because I think we're just going to do it very professionally and we're going to get to the other side. I can't wait to see us come up against a inverted commas tough team, or bigger team, or a more attacking team, to see exactly how it plays out. Because for as much as we haven't had a great record on them first games, and we've put that demon to rest on Sunday just gone, we still got a few other demons to put to rest, and it'll be interesting to see how it turns out, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think we all know we've got the ability to, on paper, to beat any team because of the attack and talent that we have. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we all felt like we'd start the first game hopefully with a win, but it might be a bit slow. Hopefully we can pick this up against Denmark. Looking at Denmark, Brad. There's players in that team, much like we did with Serbia, that we know of, that we know their qualities. They're not unknown, not an unknown quantity as a team. They got the semi-finals of the last tournament, beaten by England, of course. But is there anything in Denmark's team, with all due respect to them, that necessarily worries you? You've got the likes of Højlund's in there, you've got Eriksson, Anderson's at the back, who's had a really good couple of seasons. Kasper Schmeichel's getting older, but he's someone that we're aware of. Christiansen, being at Chelsea in the past. Vestergaard has had a good season at Leicester. But is there anything there that you think is stronger than what we've got? Anything we should be concerned with?
I wouldn't say stronger than what we've got, but a lot of them have played at the highest level. I mean, your obvious one's Christian Eriksen.
Yeah.
And may I just say I was absolutely delighted that he scored the other day, because the last time he appeared at the Euros, obviously that scary incident happened. So for him to make his return on this stage it was excellent to see that, actually.
Class player as well. I mean,
he's class.
He's actually really underrated, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. But then you've got Højlund. I mean, there was jokes about him at the start of the season, wasn't there? But especially the last few months of the season, he looked a real player at Man United. So that might be a test for our defence as well, coming up against the current Premier League striker that's actually in a bit of form. So they have got players in there that could hurt us. And to play devil's advocate, because we've talked a lot on this podcast, England should be winning. They might win 3 out of 3. What changes? There is a chance still, Graham, I think, that we can, touch wood, that we don't go out and turn these over or get the result that we want. So if that was the case, I know I will jump in the gun a little bit there, but we've talked about changes that we made in the last game. What would you do for the last game if we come out in Denmark 2-1 over on us?
I think you need to make changes, because I think if we come out of the next game in Denmark, do you overturn us? You've had 50 minutes of a relatively poor performance against Serbia, although they didn't really damage us. And then you would look at the Denmark game, you would assume that a poor performance would result in Denmark beating us, because I think on paper, England have to be under par for most teams to beat us because of the quality that we have. We just can't sometimes do that quite often. If we turn up and Bellingham and Foden and Kane play 100%, there's few teams that can stop England. In truth, and that's not an arrogance, that's just factual. Like, some of the best players in the world, not just on paper, on form as well. So if we don't turn up against Denmark, then there's fundamentally something wrong, I think, with what we're playing at the moment. I think you still make those changes, but maybe less so. Interestingly enough, I think you're looking at the players that would definitely keep their place. I wasn't 100% sure on Gahey. I've seen him once or twice in the flesh for England. And he's looked steady enough, but I would have preferred Maguire there. I think he's probably the one that's guaranteed his place, at least for the group stages, based on his performance on Sunday. But I do think that if we were to lose against Denmark, or the performance is more underwhelming or just as underwhelming as that last 50 odd minutes were, you've got an opportunity in that last game to make changes and say there's a place there for you to take. Hopefully it's more of a case of, well done, lads, you've won the game against Denmark. I'm going to make a few changes, give some other lads a chance to impress. So I've got some selection dilemmas going into the last 16. I prefer that one. But if England want to go deep into this tournament, you can't lose any of these games in the group stages for me.
Yeah, fair point. Dave, what do you think on that one?
I just don't expect it to happen. So I can't give a theory on it. Other than,
are we talking about Sunderland getting a manager again? Because you said you don't expect that to happen, so.
Oh my God, yeah. We've got to get our dig in every time, haven't we? Because it is farcical.
I mean, we
I'm glad
don't want to. We've been doing this in about 5 podcasts now, so we're going to Sunderland-esque here. Just fucking appoint a manager, and we don't have to do it anymore.
Christian Eriksen, player manager. I'd take that.
I'd take it. I'd take anyone at this point, me.
Tell him, mate. Apart from Gareth Southgate.
Apart from Michael Beale. Player __ ID.
Oh, really? So yeah, in fact, I tell you what. In order to answer the question and give an answer on it, what I'd like to see is if it suddenly we didn't get that result and whatever, I'd like to see him throw caution to the wind. Never happen. It's like someone appointing a manager, Southgate throwing caution to the wind. It's just not going to happen. But a different system, a back three, right in front on his own. I don't know if I've mentioned that over the last month or so. But I'd like to see that and just give it a go. I don't think it's going to happen. Hey, I might be surprised if we get the win against Denmark on Thursday, which I think we will. And again, another professional result. Will Gareth actually go out of his way because he's been listening to What the Falk podcast and go, do you know something? I'm going to play 3 at the back for Dave. I can dream. Just like getting the manager at Sunderland. I can dream.
What the Dave podcast. I think I mentioned it before, and I've sound like I'm just going on a big, nice sort of brag here. But here I'm having a nice 10 days. I'm off to Amsterdam tomorrow, and then the bus to Cologne to go not watch Scotland play, but I'll be in the area where the Scotland fans are because I'm going with Ashley, and then getting a train, the Deutsche Bahn to Frankfurt to watch the game, and coming back to Dublin, spending 8 hours in Dublin and coming back. So I'm going to try and record a reaction. In fact, I will. So I hope you appreciate that I'm doing that, because as you can see, there's a lot of hassle that I've had. So subscribe for like the next few weeks if possible. But we need to go around the house and get some predictions. I'm praying we win, because after the hassle that's taken me to get there and get back, like I'd be fuming if we did. Even though I said before, is it a draw, bad result? Yes, I've decided it is. We must win 7-0, or I want to refund England. Okay, but I think we'll be okay. I think it'll be another, not uninspiring, but I think it'll be like a comfortable 1-0 and a clean sheet, and I'll be happy with that. Brad, where are you seeing it going?
You are going to be a busy boy, aren't you? Didn't realise that was your trip.
Oh mate, honestly, it's like it was the cheapest, most like easiest way to do it. But like after 3 days at a festival and then a gig tonight, I'm not gonna lie, there's part of me that's gonna dread it, but like that's what we do it for, and that's why I do it for Sunderland, I do it for England, so it is what it is. And it's worst things that could happen.
You're not taking a white limo on any of your journeys?
I wish I could, but no.
No, so you're gonna have to walk. There's 2 more songs in there.
I'm impressed.
Thank you very much, sir. You know what? I'm going to go with 2-0 and Pickford to equal Shilton's record of clean sheets in major tournaments for England.
Shilton's clean sheets, he shits himself every time he thinks Maradona. There's no such thing. Dave, how are you seeing the game against? Please be positive with it, because I'm, like I say, it's a journey, mate.
I am going to go the other way, and I think I'll get the attacking performance, albeit from the formation that we play. I'm going to go 4-0 England. Don't ask me where it's come from. It's just a feeling. I will, as Brad likes to tell me, put my money where my mouth is. I will have a fiver on England to win 4-0, just for the banter. I'm bound to get 33-1 or something, surely.
Well, you said you're going to put your money where your mouth is, and based on the fact you think we're going to win 4-0, I think your mouth might be attached to your arse, mate. So if you're shoving £50 notes up your backside.
Dave just put us on the long road to ruin there, hasn't he?
On that note, this is the end of What the Dave Lawrence podcast, but we're gonna record. I'm taking the wee laptop over there. We'll try and get a recording, and if we can. But lads, thoroughly enjoy doing these podcasts. I don't know if anyone else likes them, but it is what it is. Just what we do, and I guess we continue doing it. So subscribe for a bit if you want, and listen if you want, and if not, it's up to you. Like I say, but thanks for joining nonetheless.
Cheers, mate.
No, it's
Well,
been a pleasure.
I hope you do get a 4-0 win, and it's not a long road to ruin.
Yeah, and like
We've got
Dave's
no
been
more.
saying, he's been so confident about this one. Obviously, if we don't go out and win there, there's no way back, is there?
Good night. God bless.